Good afternoon and welcome to our May 7th council meeting. Thank you for joining us today. We will call this meeting for order and begin with council information and follow-up requests. Do any council members have comments today? Councilwoman Pastor.
I do. Tomorrow, May 8th, I will be visiting Hope's Crossing. It's a new facility on 17th Avenue in Camelback. This is a facility which serves women in crisis, and we will be seeing Hope's Crossing tomorrow. And then Friday, May 10th, 2019, at ASU Wells Fargo's Arena, we will be celebrating the Hispanic Convocation. And Friday, May 10th, 2019, we will also be celebrating at 11 o'clock Outstanding Young Man and Young Woman of the Year Award, which will be held at the Country Club. And then Saturday, May 11th, 2019, it's National Neighborhood Promise Day Volunteer Project, and we will be doing a cleanup at Moya Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members? Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, am attending the Young Man, Young Woman Award Luncheon this Friday. It should be very exciting. This Friday, there is also a fundraiser for Phoenix Police Officer Steve Flutie, who's battling brain cancer. He was most recently assigned to the Desert Horizon Bike Squad. As you know, that's one of my favorite parts of the police department is our bike squads. So the fundraiser will be held at their precinct, which is at 16030 North 56th Street. Breakfast will be from 5 to 10 a.m. and lunch dinner will be 10:30 to 7 p.m. And on Thursday, May 16th, we'll be hosting our District 3 Community Coffee Chat at Paradise Valley Mall from 8 to 9:30 in the food court. And Chris Mackey is going to be our guest speaker, and she's going to talk about the redevelopment potential in the area. Thank you.
Councilwoman Guevara.
Hi, this morning we had an amazing event in Maryville. I'd like to give a shout out to Mayor Gallego for being there as we updated our street lights to LED. It's something very meaningful for West Phoenix, particularly for Maryville in addressing safety issues. It's important that our street lights are working, so to be able to be proactive and address I just wanted to give you a shout out and thank you for being there with us this morning.
Thank you. It was a great event. Congratulations to the Streets Department. We have now changed out the majority of the LED lights on our west side to be much greener and longer lasting, and we think we're going to save citywide $22 million over 15 years. So exciting to see a better lit Phoenix. Any additional, Councilman Nowakowski?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank everyone that coordinated all the different Cinco de Mayo events. And downtown Phoenix, we had two this year. We had one right here in front of City Hall that we had some of the older, old school bands out here, War and Tierra, and then we had something for the younger people at Cityscape. So those two events turned out really good. And in South Phoenix, for the first annual, they had a Cinco de Mayo event right there at South Plaza, and they had a little car show with some rappers out there and some music and DJs, and it turned out really, really good. So thank you, Willie, for coordinating that out in South Phoenix. Everybody had a good time. It was a great event. And in the West Valley, out in the Maryville area, at the West Valley Sports Complex, there's over 240 soccer teams doing a Cinco de Mayo, what they call Mundialito, with Food City tournament, and it turned out really, really good to see all those people out there and celebrating and having a good time and enjoying sports. And on the subject of sports, right here at University Park this Saturday, we had the Phoenix Gay Flag Football League coordinating a free clinic. It turned out really great. A lot of kids showed up. The Phoenix Arizona Cardinals showed up too, and they were training the kids. They had a great time, and they look forward to having more throughout the city of Phoenix. Also, May 10th, the Salvation Army at the Ray and Joanne Crockett Center are going to be hosting a South Phoenix Science and Engineering Fair. Those are for future engineers, 7th and 8th graders. So, you know, we're working along with the South Central Light Rail Extension, and they're going to be showcasing the next generation of engineers. So thank you for all your hard work, the Salvation Army, and also our Light Rail Extension for making that happen. Also on May 10th, which is Saturday, for people that live out on the west side of town, right there at Desert West Park, we're going to have anybody who has a computer or any electronics or any of those hazardous waste materials that they want to bring out and they don't know what to do with it, you just show your water bill, or what we call our Phoenix service bill, and basically have an ID that matches the name, and then we'll dispose of it without a charge. So come on out. That's at Desert West Park. That's right there on Encano and 67th Avenue. And lastly, the big event that we have every year in Levine is actually celebrating the fallen police officers and firefighters, celebrating their lives and keeping that legacy alive. So it's really important that we recognize all that hard work that our police officers and our firefighters do on a daily basis, and especially those that have given their lives for our community and protecting and serving our community. So it's a great celebration. We're going to have fireworks out there. We're going to have some testimonies from family members. We're going to have a big community celebration and music and festival and food. So it's an all-day event. That's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And that's going to be at Cesar Chavez Park, 35th Avenue and Baseline. Hope to see you all out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final announcements? All right, with that, we will turn to our vice mayor. Do we have a call for an executive session? We do not. I don't think we have one. All right. We also don't have a consent agenda. And we do not have, excellent. We will turn to our city manager for any reports and budget updates.
I think it's the main event, so we'll be ready to go to that when you are, Mayor.
All right, we are ready for the budget update. Welcome our budget director up. Congratulations we had a robust series of meetings throughout the city and got a lot of feedback.
We have.
Mayor, thank you very much, members of the council. I want to thank each of you for hosting one of our 20 budget hearings that we held in the month of April. It is, as I talk to my colleagues around the valley, a process that's not like others. This number of public hearings is unlike anything done in other cities in the region. I want to take a minute and say thank you to the city staff who attended. We had staff at every one of the budget hearings, many of whom didn't have direct ties to the budget, but it's important for our department heads, our executives and middle managers, other employees to be there to listen to what the community has to express about their concerns to the community. I also want to thank our budget and research staff and communications office who actually set up the hearings. They created the videos, took the minutes, recorded it, and made it available to folks. So that's a big commitment of time from our budget and research department, and I want to thank them and our communications office. Mostly I want to thank the community for attending and participating. And it was not just this year, of course, but in the years leading up to this, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. We heard a variety of issues, from specific budget comments about the trial budget to general expressions of need to more specific items about what's going on in neighborhoods that weren't necessarily contained in the budget. And sometimes that input could be contradictory. For example, we heard some people say that they liked the fact that there were park rangers in the trial budget. Other people said they didn't like the fact that there were park rangers in the trial budget. But regardless, we wanted to listen respectfully and to understand what the meaningfulness of the conversation. We can't respond, of course, to everything that was raised necessarily the way people might want, but we did want to consider all the input and, as I said, be respectful of what people are expressing. And I think this city manager's proposed budget, the second pass of the budget, is stronger and more responsive to the community because of the input that you hosted in those budget hearings, so thank you. As we talked about when I discussed the proposed trial budget in late March, this year's strong economy and spending controls have enabled the city to invest in people and programs for a stronger Phoenix. And it was my goal that each of these programs can be seen in the theme. The budget is structurally balanced, with our expenses actually less than our revenues, and that allowed us to propose some additions in our general fund budget. The budget additions come from stronger revenue due to a stronger economy and controlled expenses, And that allowed us to provide compensation increases for the employees of the city, our people, and that's about 70% of new resources, and responsible restoration and addition of programs for our residents. And that's largely what we'll spend time talking about today. It's important to note that each year's budget builds on input and priorities from previous years, in addition to responding to immediate needs and changes. For example, this budget builds on previous year's input about needs for fire service in North Phoenix and in Southwest Phoenix, from the traumatic incident response that grew out of last year's hearings, from the age-friendly community discussions that were held over the last couple of years, from the folks who have been advocating for every library every day for the past 10 years, and for folks who advocated for greater opportunities for public participation. There's a participatory budgeting component in this proposal. And we've heard a lot about the impacts of homelessness and transients, the impacts on those who are experiencing that, and the impacts on neighborhoods. And so we tried to address that. The budget also works on other things that aren't as notable to the community, but are important for the ongoing financial strength of the city. A continued commitment to funding our pension reserves, our workers' compensation reserves, and our contingency funds to prepare for any future economic downturn. With this budget, we are continuing to put money aside into our public safety pension reserve to address that ongoing long-term liability. There are also council priorities that are addressed indirectly through the budget. Then they might not be new programs, but street paving that the council has moved up, with the water infrastructure that we talked about earlier this year, the continued addressing the deferred maintenance on our facilities and our vehicles, and continuing to hire for police officers towards the stated budgetary goal of 3,125 police officers. We are now at 3,024 by our latest count. That is the largest filled number we've had since 2014. Today we want to focus on feedback and our ability to respond to that. And I've talked about before, there really are three buckets of ability to respond to the information we got in the hearings. That includes some additional general fund resources that we're going to talk about with youth services and homelessness prevention and affordable housing. We've rearranged some of the programs within the police budget to be able to respond to something more immediate, which is the officer-involved shooting study. And our capital improvement budget, which is not here, but will be adopted in May and June, we were able to address some of the immediate capital needs that we heard about from the community, and we'll talk about that as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Budget and Research Director, Jeff Barton. I want to personally thank Jeff for his leadership in our budget. His depth of knowledge of our budget is unsurpassed in my view, and I will turn it over to Jeff to walk you through the trial budget. This is just a discussion item. There's 2 weeks for further feedback and comment, input, and then it will come to you on May 22nd for the first of 3 council approval votes. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Budget and Research Director.
Thank you, Ed. Mayor, members of the council, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. As the city manager mentioned, this is going to be a presentation, and we're going to start off by recapping the general fund status. So again, I focus your screen, or if you focus your attention to the screen. So right now, we have our balanced budget, and our total resources and expenditure are in balance. And right now, those are estimated to be about $1.394 billion, and that's B with a capital B, for those that can't distinguish what I'm saying up here. And again, we still have the $55 million surplus that the trial budget was predicated on and built upon. That was our foundation. Those items that were proposed in the trial budget are still contained within the city manager's budget that we're presenting here to you today. In addition, as the city manager mentioned, and as you know, my department, my staff is responsible for going through on a monthly basis and looking at revenues and expenditures. And to that point, we did find another $465,000. And again, it's not a lot of money, but again, that's the diligence that my staff shows in the work that they perform on a daily basis. One other thing that I want to point out to you is that the property tax rate, which we'll be talking to you again about in particular on July 3rd when we adopt the ordinance, the property tax rate, combined rate, is going down next fiscal year from $2.14 to $2.13. Now, I do want to caution that even with that decrease, our levy is going to increase. So the levy goes up as a result and a function of appreciation in home values as well as new construction that was not on the books last year. So the total levy will increase by about $16 million. So again, by way of background and just kind of rewinding where we've been the last month and a half, the trial budget was presented to you on March 19th. And what we presented were funding with using this $55 million surplus to hit 6 key or critical areas that we deemed as throughout this budget process. First and foremost, about 39.6 or 70% of that total surplus was being allocated to employee compensation, pension, and workers' compensation. And so again, that is roughly 70% of the total, and that is still contained with where we are today. And as you know, we continue to negotiate with some of our employee groups. The next category was public safety. You've made it long clear to us as well as the residents that public safety is a priority, and it is one of the key priorities for the City of Phoenix. As a result, $6.5 million of that surplus was allocated to public safety, with about $5 million being evenly split between police and fire. On the fire side, we focused on response times. So Station 55, the complete build-out of Station 55, which is located at I-17 and Jomax. In Levine, we added a full-time rescue. So again, Station 58, located at 47th and Dobbins, that is also included on the fire side. We also, as a result of the Traumatic Incidents Response Group and that ad hoc group, we added an additional crisis response group to the fire department, as well as some counseling and services for the police department. Also in police, we focused not on sworn staffing, but on civilian staffing. So in police, what we did is we added staff to deal with federal mandates. Again, we talked to you at length last time about the conversion from UCR to NIBRS, the federal mandate that requires us to do that by 2021. And we also added some other civilian staff in areas like lab and their crime stats group, as well as the central booking function to make officers more efficient in their job. So again, we added those areas. Also included in public safety were some additional funding for cybersecurity, as well as veterans and mental health court. In neighborhood preservation and revitalization, we added about $3.5 million there. The focus was on neighborhood inspectors, neighborhood specialists, park rangers, and things of that nature. In community services, we had about $1.3 million that was added there. Specifically there, what we added were Sunday library hours, funding for the Phoenix Teen Program, and some other additional funds. Infrastructure, what we added was, again, responding to your over the last couple of months, we've been fixated on city facilities, so we added staff in public works to deal with our aging facilities. We also added the funding necessary to increase our street landscape maintenance from 3 times a year to 4 times a year. Those were the big adds there. And then in the census, we've been talking about almost over a year now, I think we've been talking about the census, so we added $1.4 million there. On the non-general fund side, we had about $6.3 million worth of additions that addressed 9 departments, but I'm only going to highlight the 3 critical ones. First and foremost, we added positions in planning and development to the tune of about $2 million to deal with the growth and the development activity that Alan and his staff are dealing with on a daily basis. We also added positions in streets, $768,000 in 11 positions, and these positions are necessary to facilitate the $200 million worth of advanced pavement maintenance programming that they're going to be embarking on over the next couple of months. And then finally, water services added 21 positions for $3.1 million to facilitate the improvements for their facilities for both wastewater and water. So those were the trial budget additions that we took out to the community. So many of you know, because you were in attendance with me, we had 20 of those hearings between April 2nd and April 18th. At those hearings, we were able to engage with approximately 400 residents. Throughout those hearings, we recorded over 422 public comments. 381 of those were made at the actual hearings, and another 41 of those came by virtue of email or voicemail. Those comments, again, like Ed said, there were some that were pro this or not so much that. So there were some conflicting views, points of view on some of the additions that we were talking about. But overall, most of the residents came there to express their concern for preserving the existing city services that we currently provide. There was also a request for increased funding for homelessness and affordable housing, youth programming, library access and expanded hours. I know one of the things I can't get out of my head was every library every day, so that's along with the music from the budget video. I can't exercise those things from my head right now. There's also street capital projects and pedestrian safety funding that we heard about. We heard about 13th Street, 3rd and 5th Avenue, so those things. We also heard about police oversight and community engagement, as well as arts and arts maintenance funding. So as the city manager mentioned, and as I pointed out earlier, we've got about $465,000 that we want to use to address two primary critical areas. Number one is youth services. So we're proposing that we take $215,000 of that $465,000 to address youth, specifically in three areas. Number one, funding for new and additional youth summer programs and new programs, and also including an adaptive recreation program in Levine. That's something that we heard at the Levine budget hearing. Also, more citywide park activation funding. Now, this will augment the money that was already included in the trial budget for city park activations, as well as funding for the kindergarten boot camp. According to the library staff, this will add about 25 additional series of classes, and they'll be able to serve between 350 and 450 families citywide. So that's also a nice addition. So we're able to add funding for youth programs for all levels of kids throughout the city of Phoenix. So that's actually fun to do. And then secondly, affordable housing and homelessness was the other area that we heard a lot about. And so what we're doing is taking the balance, $250,000, and adding it also to three areas. Number one, $50,000 for additional funding for eviction prevention efforts. This money will be used to leverage our existing ESG funding that HSD already has. Also, we're adding an additional contracted case management navigator for homeless court, so to help those individuals that are homeless navigate the court and judicial process. And then finally, one additional positions to provide citywide coordination of affordable housing. Again, this is just as we engage with developers, as we engage development to ensure that the city has a single focus or a focused area in terms of how we're going to navigate affordable housing. And then, as the city manager mentioned, the other area in the general fund that we're going to be talking to you about briefly here is the National Police Foundation study. So there were recommendations made, and so what we're trying to do is we're going to adjust two of the additions in the police department. So the lab addition as well as the central booking addition. Rather than those positions start on July 1, we're going to defer those to October 1. By doing that, we create $300,000 worth of savings. That savings, I'm recommending that we create a set-aside to begin the implementation of the following recommendations. Number one, developing a pilot and a model for the use of behavioral health professionals in the police department to assist our officers. Secondly, developing a software solution to track incidents of when an officer draws and trains a weapon, as well as tracking their officer training. And third, identifying ways to provide and bringing more community involvement into police policy development.
Just to add in here, so this is an example of something that came up. This actually, the National Police Foundation study became public the day after our last budget hearing, and so we want to respond to that, but it's not clear yet what that is going to specifically be. So this creates a fund set aside that will need to come back through the City Council for implementation, but it makes the funding available. So these are some of the things that were recommended in that study, but as the chief works with the department, with the community on recommendations for implementation, they will come back through the council for approval for specific things to do. We just don't know what those are yet, so it's trying to keep up with that.
I have a question regarding that. The $300,000 then, if it's set aside or in the budget, it won't be spent until it comes through the committee and has developed the guidelines or the framework, and I'm assuming, or I anticipate, that the community piece will be then presented to us.
Well, I can address the budgetary piece, and I'll let Ed address the other side of that. So budgetarily, this is not going to be in the police department to start with. That's why we're creating a set-aside. So this money will be outside of the police department, and it will sit in a reserve. That reserve cannot be moved into the police department until you've given them the green light to do that.
And so that answers the second part of your question, which is the intent is that the addition of things with this money must come back through the council process, which involves the Public Safety Subcommittee and the full council.
Okay, because there was a community request asking that the community be involved in this process, so that's why I'm clarifying.
Right, and yes, Mayor, Councilman Pastor, the police chief has committed that there will be a community process with,
Okay,
with this.
thank you.
And then finally, again, as the city manager mentioned, we're making some changes that don't affect necessarily the operating budget per se, but they do reflect themselves in the capital budget, which you'll see in the next couple of weeks. So in streets, we are actually adjusting their CIP budget. Specifically, we're adjusting it to address and finish the design on 13th Street in the Garfield neighborhood, which we heard a lot about, saw lots of pictures about that particular need. And then also moving forward on design for 3rd and 5th Avenues, as well as adding additional funding for further and additional pedestrian safety measures, including hawks and traffic medians. Specifically, this addition is actually going to add $1 million per year over the 5-year CIP. So this is additional $5 million being added to the CIP specifically for this endeavor. So again, that briefly summarizes the changes. We didn't have a lot to work with additional, so again, it was pretty quick. The next steps in our process, 2 weeks from now, I'll be back on May 22nd for the first vote on the budget, and then we follow that up with 2 additional votes in June, on June 5th and June 19th, and then we get to come back on July 3rd for the property tax, and because it's so fun, we get to do it all again once that's over. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work on this process, and thank you to the many community members who have weighed in. We have many communities members here to weigh in, and we'll start with Karen Cruz, followed by Paris Wallace. And our budget director is looking for one line in particular from Karen Cruz.
Good afternoon. I am Karen Cruz, and I'm a proud resident of District 6, and you are welcome for the earworm of every library every day. You are very welcome for that. I am a member also of the Friends of the Phoenix Public Library Board, and I'm here today on behalf of the thousands of Friends supporters. But first, I also want to acknowledge that given Phoenix is one of the largest metropolitan cities with such a robust and transparent budget process, I want to thank Madam Mayor and the council members for supporting this system, and also for the staff, because I know it's a very, very arduous process. But as a resident and voter in the city, I very much appreciate that. I know it's a lot of hard work. Every single day in the 5th largest city in the nation, thousands of Valley residents use their libraries, but only if they're open. If it's a Sunday, Monday, or Friday, between 4 and 8 of our 17 libraries are closed. We're grateful for the gradual increase in funds our libraries have seen over the past several years, and are very pleased that this trial budget continues that support. We hope that you too will support additional hours at the 4 branches listed in the trial budget, because libraries, as you know, are no longer about checking out books and materials. The programs the Friends fund range from hugely popular summer reading program, various STEAM and early literacy programs, College Depot, connecting job seekers to career resources, and providing 21,000 healthy meals to hungry kids through Kids Cafe, just to name a few. Again, we can only provide these important community services and programs if our libraries are open. So I want to take off my Friends hat, put on my resident hat, and also say that if Prop 106 were to pass, it would adversely impact the ability for the libraries to be open, continue to open additional hours, and provide those programs that are so vitally needed in our community. So I did want to just express that. I was not able to express that last time. I wanted to get that in. So we again thank you for supporting this unique budget process, and look forward to every library every day.
Thank you for coming through for all of us and for Jeff. And Paris Wallace will be followed by Opal Wagner.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I am a longtime resident of District 4, and I want to say thank you to Councilwoman Pastor. I know that my daughter spoke at a couple of the hearings. She was very adamant about the parks by her house and all of the parks that her and her friends play at. And the other morning when I was taking her to school, they were cleaning up that park, and they were planting trees in that park. And she had a play date at that park, and it was amazing. And so she actually got to see how democracy works when we work together, the city and the residents. And I just really want to extend my gratitude to you, Councilwoman Pastor. Thank you. I also want to talk about what I notice through cities across the country. And they are investing in positive, proactive solutions to concerns in their libraries, in fact. And our researchers have actually found several models, including here in Arizona, that are used, where investments have gone to library nurses and caseworkers instead of additional security. So I would like to request, along with a few other community members, to create an ad hoc committee of community members to explore solutions to those mental health and homeless issues that are non-punitive and center the wellness and health of community members in the libraries and public spaces. Because yes, the park is clean and they are having play dates, but you know, there are things still. And so that's basically what I'm asking, is just to pause the rollout of the library security until a proactive and positive solution can be chosen, and with the input of community members. Because we saw working together, things happen and they are amazing. So I just want to say that, and thank you again for Falcon Park.
Thank you. Opal Wagner, followed by Michael Ingram.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name's Opal Wagner. I'm a resident of District 4, and I'm one of the approximately 400 people, I guess, who attended the budget hearings. And my neighbors and I came down to the budget hearings because we are very concerned and passionate about the traffic volume and speeding on 3rd and 5th Avenue through our neighborhood, the Willow Historic District. So we were delighted today to find out that there's going to be, in the CIP budget now, funds for moving forward on the design of 3rd and 5th Avenue between McDowell Road and up to Indian School. I'm just here to say thank you, Mayor and Council, Mr. Zerker, and the staff for conducting an open and inclusive budget process, and for hearing our concerns and responding to us, and we look forward to moving forward with the city on the 3rd and 5th Avenue redesign and improving the pedestrian safety in our area. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Michael will be followed by Jennifer Rouse.
Good afternoon. My grandmother always tell me, ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I feel like Phoenix is heading in that direction. We have an increase for homeless services for individuals who are experiencing homelessness, and through the Phoenix Municipal Court, getting them services that they need. I think that's a really positive step, but let's catch those folks before they even end up in Phoenix Municipal Court. Most homeless folks are gonna get caught up for things like trespassing, encampment, very minor offenses that have a large impact on people's lives. If you don't have the $75, if you're struggling with homelessness, you don't have the $75 for the fees. You don't have the $60 for the fees. We can start taking these exact same individuals and putting them in libraries. We can start taking these exact same individuals and putting them where people who are experiencing homeless frequent, so we can keep them out of the municipal court system. Our municipal court system is bogged down. Oftentimes we have large numbers of cases that are just dismissed, which means someone has been arrested, they've gone to trial, largely they probably had a public defender, and then their case was dismissed. That is a lot of time, energy, and money wasted by our legal system. So we could take these same individuals that we are adding into the budget, which is fantastic, and put them in libraries. It can reduce security, but most importantly, it catches people before they end up in the criminal justice system. Because we all know that once someone is entered in the criminal justice system, it alters their life normally, permanently. And if you're already experiencing homelessness, you don't need any more hard times. We don't need you to be caught up oftentimes some minor infraction that's going to impact the rest of your life. So let's be more proactive than we've currently been, and take these same individuals we are putting outside of the courts, or however we're pretending to use those individuals, and put them in libraries so individuals can access them before they have the interaction with the police. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer will be followed by Mateo Miramontes.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego. I have to say thank you, Mr. Zerker, for this, because it's pages 5 through 7 basically outline exactly what I was going to ask for. I have to turn this into a thank you. Thank you, Mayor Gallego, to your staff, also to Councilwoman Mendoza and Councilman Nowakowski, for your staff for meeting with us to talk about youth services specifically as it relates to our children with special needs. Thank you, Mayor Gallego. Your staff has reached out and talked to me, giving me updates about also the youth services and also the homeless. So I appreciate that. I just want to say to all the city council members whose staff have personally talked to us, you made a lot of us the community leaders that we are. I have to say, of course, we could use more park rangers, we could use more police officers, but also to look at who and what those positions are, because our community action officers were some of the first people that turned us into not just an upset parent, but to a community advocate. So it's been a long road. Mayor Gallego, thank you so much, because you were one of those people that told us to keep at it, to continue to talk, and to spread the word throughout our community. So going forward with the budget, I know that as a community leader that I must reach out to my neighbors to encourage them to show up at these meetings, and not just our own, but also throughout the city, as some of the people that are here have done so as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Mateo will be followed by Kevin Heafy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mateo Miramontes. I'm a high school student from Brophy College Preparatory. I live in District 4, and I just wanted to say I'm grateful for the increased funding into the homelessness issue. However, I would like there to be some kind of committee that is non-punitive and looks for more mental health solutions and focuses more on affordable housing for the homeless. I spent a lot of time down by Andre House, which is right next to the center that the city has set up for the homelessness problem. And I have a lot of people down there suffer from mental health issues, or they suffer from addiction problems that cause mental issues later on. And I would just look for the city to help, take care of these people who really need it. And yeah, that's all I got. So thank you.
Thank you. Kevin will be followed by Jonathan Zazueta Silvain.
Good afternoon, Mayor Gallego, council members, and city staff. I came here today, first of all, my name is Kevin Heafy. I live in Ahwatukee. Ironwood is my library branch of choice, and thank you for having us here today. I wanted to send a sincere thanks to Mayor Gallego, to the council members, and to your staffs especially for hearing every library every day and keeping the additional hours for Sunday in the proposed budget, and remaining committed to helping us achieve our ultimate goal of returning to the pre-recession times of library hours when every library was open every day. My colleague, Ms. Cruz, I think, gave you a good rundown of what our libraries are capable of doing here in the 5th largest city in the nation. It's not just checking out books, it's a lifetime of learning from childhood programs all the way up through starting a business and going to college. The Friends is proud to put on these organizations, or these programs, but we can only do that if the libraries are open. So thank you for working with us to help achieve that goal. And I thought I would finish, rather than throwing some numbers out there, and Councilman DeCiccio, I apologize, you've already heard me share this story. But I wanted to share what the library has meant to my family and how I think that could benefit the community. I have a daughter who's 7, and I have a son who's 4. And they started at the Ironwood branch, going to the childhood reading times when they barely paid attention and waddled around and played with toys. And then they've gone to the ocean animal exhibits and the Dr. Seuss exhibitions and all the other things that are available to them. And now they regularly go to the library every couple weeks to check out books. And in fact, they've checked out so many books to themselves that we've had to get them separate library cards now because they fill books and I get to carry them upstairs at the end of the night. My favorite time with my family is at the end of the night when we sit down and we go through those books. In fact, tonight I'll be sitting down with my 4-year-old to learn about Komodo dragons because that's his new obsession of choice. It's a huge part of my family. I think everyone from the community can benefit from having those opportunities. And thank you for remaining committed to every library every day.
Thank you. Jonathan will be followed by Chris Palmer.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Zazueta. I am a resident of District 7, and I'd just like to thank you all for your investments in the budget. And I really like to stress regarding the library and the security that's being rolled out in the libraries. And according to the National Police Foundation, it was highlighted that the Phoenix Police Force was not equipped to deal with mental health issues. And I like to stress that a lot because I work with homeless people sometimes under house as well. And I feel like it might be a big sense of intimidation for them with the high amount of security at the libraries. Security is a very great thing for everyone, but I feel like we don't want to exclude the homeless population there as well. So as stated previously by some members of the community, I also like to humbly request the ad hoc committee of community members to explore solutions to the police force that's coming out. Maybe it's something more positive instead of just more police force. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris will be followed by Luke Black.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Palmer. I'm from the Garfield neighborhood in District 8. I'm excited because when I say the Garfield neighborhood, you guys already know I'm here to talk about 13th Street. And you know that because I got a whole bunch of great neighbors, and they've been showing up to these budget meetings over the last couple of weeks. And I want to say this worked out like you guys told us it was going to work out. We started this. 13th Street was not on the budget at all. It hasn't been. We've been asking for it for over a decade. And we started this process. You guys listened and clearly started to do some research, started to work with the city staff. We know city staff went back, did some homework, figured out both what needed to be done, what had been tried. And our discussions with you guys got better as you started to ask questions. And we really appreciate that you engaged with us. And if you look, obviously now there is a line in the budget. And the line is to start the planning of 13th Street, is to complete the planning of 13th Street. And that's great, and that's not what we want. What we want is the completion of 13th Street. That's what we've been asking for, and that's what we'll continue to ask for. So we want to come up here today and say thank you. We very much appreciate it because you guys have listened to us, you guys have engaged with us. Clearly work has been done. And we expect that the work's going to continue to be done. We expect to be coming back, engaging with you in this as the plan goes forward, but also as completion occurs. So as we're thinking about the budget, not just the planning, but also make sure that we can complete 13th Street. So we look forward to working with you, and we look forward to completing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Luke will be followed by Brad Bauer.
Good afternoon, members of council. I'd like to start with a thank you, then something that I find really concerning, followed by two requests. So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you that took the time to come to both the youth budget hearings and the non-English budget hearings. I know that every single one of you have youth and non-English speakers in your districts, and so it was really encouraging to see the members that did show up for those hearings. And to the other ones, I'd like to encourage you to consider those residents as important as the English-only adults that attend your budget hearings. I'd like to just really quickly point to the $18 million in general fund spending that was allocated to the police department for staffing increases. That $18 million was not talked about at all in the budget hearing process. That's a big chunk of money, and it seems a bit disingenuous that that chunk of money was left off the table because it is coming from the general fund. We're not children. You don't need to hide things from us. So I would ask that you be more transparent in the future on that. For the two requests, I'm really curious to see how the $300,000 from the National Police Foundation report gets rolled out. I'm hoping that we stay on task with the three focus areas that you mentioned in your presentation. The report had some stuff about proactive policing, and I can hope that we stay away from that. There is abundant research across the country that illustrates that proactive policing promotes racial profiling, and I hope that our department can stay away from that. So I would ask first that you continue to include community input in that process. And then my last ask is for the Muni ID. You all approved that in 2016, and it's time to get that rolling. And so I'm asking for $200,000 more to be found in the general fund to get that started. Thank you.
Councilwoman Pastor has a question.
I have a question about the 18 million, Jeff.
Sure. Councilwoman Pastor, Mayor, members of the council, the $18 million that Mr. Black is referring to, they're taking a point-in-time document, which is the inventory of programs. As you all well know, that document comes out in early February, much earlier than the trial budget, much earlier than labor negotiations, much earlier before we decide what our funding is for vehicle replacements and all of those different things. So when you take that inventory of programs document, which is released in early February, and compare it to Schedule 4, which is an attachment in your budget package that you have right now, there's an $18 million increase to the police department's general fund. The majority of that, $16.9 million of that $17.8 million to be exact, is tied to labor negotiations costs, the $900,000 in additions that you added as a result of the body-worn camera program that you added in late February as well as the $2.5 million worth of supplementals. So it's not that anybody was hiding anything. There is a timing. The budget is built in steps. It's built in phases. And the phase that he was looking at and referring to in early February, being the inventory, did not include those things, as those things are still working their way through the chain until we get to Schedule 4, which is in your packet today.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you, Brad, for your patience, and you will be followed by Berta Rita.
Good afternoon, Mayor Gallego, council members, city staff. Thank you for considering the addition to the budget plan. It shows that this style of meetings can actually work when we have a chance to have a direct public forum discussion with our elected leaders and city staff, city manager as well at the same time. So hopefully we can get this done and make the street safety better where we've asked for it. Again, thank you for that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Berta will be followed by Sarah Stadler.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos.
Good evening, everyone.
Mi nombre es Berta Rita.
My name is Berta Rita.
Yo no les vengo a decir que los securities en los parques y las bibliotecas no son seguridad para nuestras comunidades, como ustedes están llamando que es seguridad para nosotros. No es, nosotros como comunidad decimos no es seguridad, ¿verdad?
I'm here to give the message that these park rangers or park security or library security, as y'all call it, security for our communities is not security for us, and I'll explain why.
Visten como sheriffs, intimidan a nuestra comunidad.
They look like sheriffs. They're intimidating in our community.
A nosotros nos pasó, bueno, a mí, a nosotros como líderes, en una junta comunitaria
A group
del
of us, as
presupuesto.
leaders, in one of the budget hearings, actually,
Llegaron unas personas, unos guardias
we were
de
volunteering
seguridad
when security, some of these park rangers, those guards showed up.
a intimidarnos.
They were intimidating.
Y nosotros no estábamos haciendo nada malo.
And we weren't
estábamos-
doing anything wrong. We weren't doing anything bad.
Teníamos ahí un poco de comida para nuestra gente de la comunidad
we were
llegar a
there to,
participar para lo del presupuesto.
waiting for people to participate, because we had people who were going to participate in the budget process, and we were waiting for them, and we had food, and we were outside waiting.
Ustedes han dicho que la policía no está capacitada para lidiar con problemas de la comunidad con salud mental.
You all have also, there's been a lot of comments around how our police department is not equipped and should not be dealing with mental health issues in our community.
Pues yo creo que estas personas mucho menos tampoco están capacitadas para hacer este trabajo.
And so when that is used, that's why we need these rangers to deal with these issues. I think they're even less equipped to deal with the issues of mental health and homelessness in our community.
Para nosotros lo que haría más segura nuestras comunidades sería que en las bibliotecas pusieran trabajadoras sociales, enfermeras.
what would be safety for us would be to have resources at the libraries, to have health workers, to have nurses, to have social workers,
y mejores parques.
and to have better parks.
Esto haría a nuestras comunidades más saludables.
This is what would make our community healthier.
Y yo sé que van a dejar la seguridad porque ya lo tienen ahí, ya tienen el presupuesto para eso.
And from what I'm feeling, it looks like you already have that in and that you all don't plan on changing.
Solo me gustaría pedir que les cambien la vestimenta.
So then my ask is that you look at how they are, change their uniform.
Y que haya consecuencias para ellos si abusan del poder que están teniendo en esos momentos.
And that there are consequences, procedures, and protocols that when they don't behave well or when they intimidate us or harass us, that we have a process to be able to file official complaints.
Para que no estén abusando con nuestra gente el poder que ellos tienen.
So that they don't abuse the power, so that they don't abuse their power in our communities.
Es todo, gracias.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah will be followed by Juana Ochoa.
Hi, I'm Pastor Sarah Stadler. I live in District 7, but the congregation I serve is right at 3rd Street and Moreland, and I was delighted when I received an email saying that the Hawk crossing light that I had requested on behalf of the council of my congregation had been included in the budget, so thank you for that, and I really appreciate the participatory process of the budget. And just want to encourage you to continue that process as years go by. And I also really appreciate everyone being here. It's good to be part of a city that cares about the city. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Juana will be followed by Bob Cannon.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hi, good evening. Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Juana Ochoa.
My name is Juana Ochoa.
Estoy aquí porque soy de la comunidad del distrito número 5.
I'm here as a resident of District 5.
No está Michael, pero quería agradecerle a Michael porque
Michael stepped out, but I wanted to thank Michael.
nos dijo que nos iba a apoyar para pedir un presupuesto para la ID municipal.
Because he's talked about supporting this, to fund and implement the municipal
Que eso
ID
pasó en el
program.
2016 que fue aprobada.
That was approved in 2016.
Quisiéramos pedir que se termine ese proceso.
We want to finish that process
de esta ID municipal.
To implement the municipal ID.
Ya que mucha gente de nuestra comunidad se beneficiaría mucho con eso.
As many in our community will benefit from that.
Porque a veces por no tener un ID también nos incriminan.
Because we're criminalized for not having an ID.
Entonces quisiéramos pedir un presupuesto para la ID y pues Michael dijo que nos iba a apoyar. Espero que sí. Y pues es todo lo que les quería pedir.
And so, I'm here to ask for that to be allocated, for that process to be completed. And, Michael, who said he was going to support. And yeah, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Espero que nos den ese dinero.
Gracias. I hope that gets funded. Thank you.
And Bob will be followed by Vidi Hernandez.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful day today. I'm Dr. Robert Cannon, president of the Willow Neighborhood Association, representing Phoenix's largest neighborhood association. I'm here to thank everyone for the beautiful, time-consuming, but very eloquent, and especially on behalf of the Willow neighborhood, we've been asking for 3rd and 5th Avenue to be recognized and to be corrected to protect the nation, the Phoenix's largest historic neighborhood. So I'm here standing in front of you as in appreciation of your collaboration, your energy, and your efforts, and we look forward to a continued collaboration and execution to protect Phoenix's largest historic neighborhood. And I'm very humble, and I thank you all so much.
Thank you. Vidi will be followed by Raul Daniels.
Sorry, I've got a daughter in physical therapy right now, so I'm running out of time. Thanks to the mayor, city council, city manager for listening to us out in Levine. Also, thank you for Councilman Mendoza and Nowakowski for listening to his parents. Special needs children. I'm a father of a special needs 16-year-old child who goes to Cesar Chavez High School. It's probably the most difficult job I've ever had in my entire life. And I very much appreciate the $14,000 you guys allotted for the summer program. And I realize it's just the beginning. We're in desperate need of a full-time therapeutic recreation coordinator out in the Levine area. And it's best to put this in the budget now versus wait till the center's built, because then you're waiting 3 more years before you actually have something going for the special needs community out there. So the purpose of this position is to create year-round special needs programs and activities for our special needs children in Levine. You seek, create, and maintain program resources with the business community, the agencies, and the schools to build a foundation for the program services that eventually get moved over into the community center when it's built. Third, this individual also seeks grants and other resources to enhance the existing budget. For instance, we've got a couple of grants right now available that I'm sure are being held up because we don't have anyone that can write those grants. Last, if we can please take a look at providing even a weekly program when school begins. I know we got $14,000 for the summer, but it'd be very helpful if we can get at least 1 day a week when school begins like we had before. And the last comment I want to make is be extremely patient with the special needs community. It requires a lot of trust and patience on behalf of the parents to start getting involved. So you'll probably see low numbers in this program in the summer. I guarantee it. It'll take a while for people to gain trust in the program and service for the kids. I highly recommend increasing the rangers. I would highly recommend a ranger at the special needs program. Our kids have no way of defending themselves just in case, God forbid, something happens. Last thing we need is some idiot go in there and do something. We got all these kids in wheelchairs and stuff and no way to defend themselves. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Councilman Nowakowski.
You know, I think we were looking at these mobile units for the parks. Maybe we can actually have one that's geared towards individuals with special needs. I know that in our Levine meeting, that was one of the big topics that I really never realized that how much of a need there is for these children and young adults, and that there's really nowhere for them within the city of Phoenix to participate in recreation and park stuff. So if we can maybe create maybe a special mobile unit that travels with special games and activities that are geared towards individuals like that, that would be really great. I know that throughout the whole city, we probably have kids with special needs that it can benefit.
Thank you. A great suggestion. And next up will be Abraham James.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for being at the budget hearings, for all of you that were able to participate, for going to the bilingual and to the youth ones. I'm here to just echo what some of our community have already said, and I think similar to what Councilman Nowakowski just said, there are solutions beyond policing. There are solutions that can truly invest in the health and the wellness of our people, in the health and the wellness of students, of young people, of kids with special needs, and we're asking for you to expand your imagination to look at what those solutions could be, right? The park rangers that are being implemented right now, we already saw them be intimidating to community members that are active, that were part of an organization. So what is the training? What are the consequences? What is a change? How do we involve community to change what these positions could be? And so that's what we're asking, is for community to be more involved in these processes, because what we're seeing is that it can actually deter safety. And what we've seen in like the light rail cops, for example, that abuse their power, who have a fake badge and are very violent and are very abusive. And so that's what we constantly see when people get to wear some kind of badge. And so what are the protocols? What are the policies? What are the consequences? And how is community able to hold those new now departments accountable? And then the other thing is like, what are the solutions that we're creating for these issues that focus on safety? And I want to also touch on the $300,000 that are going to implement these recommendations and hear more about what will be the process to implement those recommendations, because community members have been asking for a lot of those recommendations for many, many years, and we agree with most of them. There are some that are concerning to us, but we want to know what is the process to make sure that community members are part of that, and we would love to hear that today as this money is being allocated. And for the municipal ID, right, as we're thinking about how do we finish this program, the last thing is how do we review the policy, 'cause it's been several years and a lot of things have changed, review the policy with community members, and then with community members work in an implementation program. And then finally, I just want to say thank you to everyone who opened up and who made this process more accessible. Jeff Barton, right, who led this process, and city manager and the staff who did create a process that was more accessible, did create a process that has been actively engaging community, and we hope to continue to push that, continue to grow it and make it even larger. And then we're gonna submit some postcards as well. We mailed about 75, I think, to Mayor Gallego's office, but we would like for these to also be included in the count. And then these are additional ones to that as well. And we also will submit some petitions that people signed online to add to the way that people participated this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Abraham will be followed by Michelle Campuzano.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Abraham James. I'm the chair of the Library Advisory Board, and I'm also the chair of the Greater Green Gables Neighborhood Association. I happen to live in District 8. I want to take this opportunity to thank the City of Phoenix for all the positive support it has done for our citizens through good and bad economies, economic times. The mayor, vice mayor, council members, city manager's office, department leaders, and staff have been helpful in addressing the issues as our city evolves. Thank you for your support for the arts and culture, the library, our neighborhoods, parks, youth, and senior centers, streets, transportation, police, and fire. I applaud you for all that you have done for the City of Phoenix. As our city continues to grow and evolve, I would hope that you will continue to add funds to the city budget, which will go toward the homeless and toward substance abuse, addictions, and provide additional funding for affordable housing within the downtown and central Phoenix. These are issues that have been with us for a while, and I would hope that more funding would be available to continue to address these issues as we continue to grow and evolve. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Michelle will be followed by Daniel Rubio.
Let's put this way down. Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Campuzano, and I wanted to thank you all for listening to our concerns about having inclusive practices amongst our community. It means a lot to us. I would just like to add that they do become adults if we're lucky enough that they live that long, and we also have to think about what happens when they're no longer under the age of 18. So I just wanted to thank you for that. I'm here today as a previous special educator who's representing my students, as an elected governing school board member representing my community, as an advocate representing the special needs population, but most importantly, I'm here today representing my son, David. I've been my son's voice battling for equity, accessibility, and inclusion for over 20 years, and have recently picked up the fight for my students. David is my hero. He represents courage, endurance, and joy. His ability to smile through 34 brain surgeries motivates me and inspires my advocacy to promote inclusion. Those impacted by special needs are all around us. We're your neighbors, your church family. We patriot local businesses. We are employees and volunteers. You might not always see us because we live in a world that's not meant for us, but when caretakers do find the strength to overcome accessibility challenges within our community, be patient and kind. You may never know what it took us to get there. Try getting out on the side of the road and lifting an 80-pound kid with no wheelchairs or no handicap parking and cars flying by you. Recently, Rep. Anthony Kern from Glendale opposed House Bill 2529, which mandates changing tables in publicly funded buildings. I'm glad that he was not the majority, but he called the matter a personal responsibility, which is often how it's been viewed. For those with disabilities, it's not a personal responsibility. Until last year, I earned over $70,000 in which I pay taxes on. Taxes that have supported facilities that are not accessible to my child and programs that my son is not included in. I'm not complaining because I know my tax contributions have supported some of the growth and development in our communities. I just hope to see a day when our communities also support the growth and development of individuals impacted by special needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel will be followed by Jasmine Mesa.
Good afternoon, Council. Can you guys hear me? I'm good. Okay, hey, my name is Daniel Rubio. Background, I am a special education teacher in the Levine area, specifically at Cesar Chavez. Self-contained classroom. I am a wrestling coach as well as a resident in the Levine area, former Chavez student, as well as a former Parks and Recs kid. So I'm here on behalf of the budget. I overheard the budget in regard to funding for special needs outside of school. The biggest thing that I deal with is parents often ask, what do we have outside of the school? What do we have available after school, when they graduate, even during the summer? And I kind of do this, and I hate being in that position because there's just not too many programs. But I'm here to advocate, and not uproar, but advocate on part of individuals with IEPs, 504s, students in mobile devices, which is a wheelchair. And it was just brought to my attention that there's a possibility of funding more programs, and me as a teacher, I would greatly, greatly appreciate this, and as well as a community member. I'm a primary source. I'm in the offices with the parents, with the students, hearing what they have, the needs they have, so I'm there on the front line, so I kind of have a lot of input and detail on what goes on. I can only imagine what they have to deal with at home. I just see it at school. So if this is a possibility, I'm 100% in support of moving forward with this, and I hope that everybody that is here today hears the same as far as supporting this goes. So I really want to thank you, Council. This is my first time. I'm really nervous. Hopefully I did okay. All right, everybody, thank you.
Jasmine will be followed by Craig Tripkin.
Good afternoon. My name is Jasmine. I'm here today to talk about two things. For one, this year's budget is adding new park rangers and library security to address issues with our homeless population and those with mental health struggles. However, if Phoenix police officers are not equipped to deal with mental health issues, how can we expect park rangers and library security to be better equipped to meet the needs of these communities than police officers who have like a lot of more resources? Another thing is that the lack of a municipal ID is still a reason that people cannot access basic services in our city. 3 years ago, the council passed a municipal ID but did not fund or implement it. This needs to be brought back to ensure equal opportunities for everyone in the community. And then the final thing is that I do want to thank you guys for adding $215,000 towards youth programs. That was something that me and a lot of other people went to like budget hearings to like request. And yeah, but I mean, I guess if 18 million is being added towards police budget, then it really isn't that much, but it's a really good start, so thank you.
Thank you. Craig will be followed by Juana Galeno.
Mayor, Council, Mr. Zerker, everybody else, thank you very much for your time. I just want to first thank you for the transparent process. I've been researching homeless shelters all over the country and city support of homeless shelters all over the country, and I cannot find any city that is as transparent as the city of Phoenix is, and I think you deserve a lot of credit for that. I know it's clear, and I think it's important that the city manager's budget refers to the impacts of homelessness, because homelessness is a global problem within all of our districts, all of your districts, all of our neighborhoods, and it needs to be addressed. I want to tell you that I think a lot of things that we're doing are not working, and we need to start looking for new solutions for how it is we go about what we do. While I'd like more money for CAS, I'm not really here to ask for it. I'm here to thank you for what you've done up to now and for the city's commitment to homelessness. That's the most important piece. I won't turn it down. We won't turn it down. But I do want to say that. I want to add one last thing, which is we're down the legislature, and we're looking to get, and we're in the Senate, and we're in the House budget right now. We're looking to get a $5 million appropriation. It'll go to the Department of Housing. It's a long ways to go, as I'm sure you all know, with the budget process. But that is to build approximately 150 senior shelter beds. It's a one-time appropriation, so we're going to still looking for operations money, but on the west side of Phoenix, so we can regionalize this problem. We know that's important. Our regional funding is up 53% this year, but I just want to tell you that we are committed to trying to move this problem out of, or I don't want to say move it out of, to try to have Central Phoenix not be the one that bears the whole burden of this, and we want to do that. We're committed to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Juana will be followed by Ginny Ann Sumner.
Good afternoon, Mayor Gallego. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Juana Galeno. I am a South Phoenix resident, District 8. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for listening to the community, to taking into consideration their feedback. And also, it means so much to me and South Phoenix that you are taking the community into account and that you're listening to their voices. My request today is that if you could please refrain from hiring new park rangers and security for libraries and parks. We don't need that. Our community doesn't need that. Our community needs services. If you could please take that into consideration, and if you could reallocate the funds that you have set aside for the park rangers and the securities into services for our community, which are affordable housing, services for homeless and victims of abuse, also free services for youth and the mental health community. Those are the services that our community truly needs, and those are the services that should be taken into consideration. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Ginny Ann will be followed by Maria Sanchez.
Good afternoon. I'm here to lend support to additional funding for park rangers. Rangers are like hall monitors, that they also provide community service, customer service. Most park rangers do not have, most of our parks do not have park personnel in them in the afternoons or the evenings. So it's the park rangers who help provide that contact if they're needed. Since additional park rangers have been added, my neighbors have commented that more secure that they feel going to the park. I've also talked to people who are in our parks as well, and they agree that the park rangers just lend that level of security and safety that they feel. And that's really what we want to do with our parks. We want to provide a sense of security and safety. Our parks should be used constantly. Last night, my husband and I came home from an event, and I said to Jean, wow, look at how many people are in the Crosscut Park. It was just full of people who were walking the dogs, just enjoying families as well. That's the same thing that we experience in our other parks. And that's the kind of security that the park rangers lend to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Sanchez is our final card. We do have one card marked as neutral and one card marked as opposed, not wishing to speak.
Good afternoon, Council and Kate. It's good to see you up there as our new mayor. I'm just here because I'm a little upset that we're willing to give an additional $18 million to police. They already have most of the funds. We continue to see that they get all this funding, but we can't allocate more funding for youth. We cannot allocate more money for the homelessness crisis that we're facing. And it's sad because this is what community has been asking for years, and especially through the last budget hearings. But we're willing to go and give police $18 million for races. And to get for so they can get a raise. But we need to find equitable amount to fund youth, homelessness, and parks and with special needs. Another thing that I'm concerned about is the park rangers. To some community, it does feel safe. To people like myself and to my community and to my family, it does not give us safety. If we are gonna have them, because it looks like you are wanting to push it forward, then we need to create some kind of process for community to have oversight on what in case they do something to harass us, or because we do see that, right? What is that gonna be the process for members of community so that they can also give input about that. And we need to change their uniforms, like community has been saying. Another thing about the library securities that we're wanting to get, you know, there's been research across the country and other places around the states that are actually not putting securities inside the libraries, but they're putting nurses there, right? They're putting people, even in Tucson, very close here in our state, they have something where, you know, they're not gonna have security, they're gonna have people there, like I said, nurses and people helping the community. So if there's already a model like that here, why can't we sit down and have that conversation on how we can get that here in Phoenix? Because those library securities are not gonna be safety for our community. The only thing they're gonna go do is harass the people that are there that are, you know, can't afford housing right now, because that's usually who you wanna kick out. And we also need to make sure that we allocate the money for the municipal ID. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate everyone coming out who's participated, not just today, but throughout the process. People have shared a lot of personal stories, and there are a lot of advocates who have been working for years for things that are included in these trial budgets. So I hope you feel that the city manager, staff, and council is listening and trying to build a city that is responsive to its residents. Councilwoman.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like just to make some comments. First, I'd like to thank our staff for finding resources to prioritize pedestrian safety, particularly with hawks and medians. I know that's something Councilwoman Stark and I previously asked for, so I'm really glad to see that included. Additionally, I just want to reiterate something that was raised regarding the $300 to implement the recommendations from the National Police Foundation. One of the actual recommendations is that the department do a better job to meaningfully engage the community on the changes to the department. So successful implementation of these recommendations by definition requires us to meaningfully engage the community. So I just want to make sure that's prioritized. Thank you.
Councilwoman Mendoza.
Jeff, can you remind me on the police budget, how much money do we allocate for de-escalation training? Was it $500,000 or $700,000?
Let me look, Councilwoman. I don't remember off the top of my head.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was de-escalation training and mental health training.
That is correct. So in the police department, what we've added for that was $200,000 for police.
But from the traumatic incident intervention?
That is correct.
I thought that was 500.
For fire side is 500,000.
Okay, and police is 200?
Correct.
Okay, and it also included mental health, right?
The police side did, yes. On the fire side, it was an additional crisis response unit for 550,000, and then on the police side, it was $200,000 for mental health and training and outreach.
Can we make sure to add that mental health component to the budget, because it only has de-escalation training? I don't see
wording?
mental health.
Yes,
training.
I can reword that.
You're adding
Another question.
Councilwoman Mendoza has the floor.
For the park rangers, is it possible to also train them on homelessness and mental health and work closely with Phoenix Cares?
Mayor, Councilwoman Mendoza, our Parks Director is here. I would invite her to come and talk just a second about the supervision of park rangers, to your question about their training specifically as it relates to homeless and transients.
Also, if a member of the public wants to file a complaint, where would they go to, or where do they call when it comes to park rangers? Or
Mayor, members of the council, and Councilwoman Mendoza, a couple things. So the complaints can be filed to our office, the director's office directly. We have several ways we can do that, and we can make sure that's very visible to folks as well. The rangers do work closely with the Phoenix Cares program currently, but we can certainly get more specific training to address those concerns. I did ask Alonzo Avitia, who's here, to speak with the individuals who are here today to find out specifically the incident that happened so we can make sure we address that.
Thank you.
May I have a follow-up question?
Okay, Councilman Nowakowski.
Regarding the uniforms, I guess there's a distinction between the deputies and our park rangers. Is there a reason why we have to, can we change the color of the uniforms in the future?
Mayor, members of council, and Councilman Nowakowski, we can certainly look at the uniforms and address that as well. We haven't at this moment, but we certainly can address that. I know there's a variety of other colors that also would be of concern, so we'd want to make sure that we address that very thoughtfully, because I think there's other colors out there that might get confused with other different branches of government as well.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you for looking into that. We don't want them to be all in the hottest uniforms possible, but if we can find a way that clearly delineates that they are there on behalf of the Parks Department. Councilman DeCiccio and then Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor. One, I want to thank the city manager and Jeff Barton. I mean, you guys have put together an incredible budget. I mean, I vote against it every year only because of the structural side of it. But overall, I have to tell you, this is one of the best ones I've ever seen. Even getting back into the 90s, the way you put it together, the way you structured it. I mean, it's really quite impressive, and the way that you've worked through some of the issues that have come out at some of the neighborhood meetings, you've really listened. My only advice on that, Ed, is I would unleash Jeff Barton to come up with as many creative ideas as he can moving into the future. Right now, we're going to see about another 2 to 3 years at least of a good economy. We're going to end up having a bad time. When we hit a bad time, it is going to be devastating to us overall. And this is the time to start saving. Now's the time to start coming up with the creative ideas. I mean, we're going to be enjoying some really good budget years in the next couple of years because we're going to see more money coming in. But the problem with the pensions in particular, they're not going to go away. So you're going to see the city of Phoenix continually climb in the amount of revenue. We have the highest budget revenue ever in the history of the city of Phoenix this year. And you're going to see maybe 55 million, maybe 45 next year, who knows how much, but that's not enough to compensate for the level of growth that's out there. It's because the pension problems will not go away. That's an accumulation of debt. Every year, that pension problem will get worse and worse and worse. If that doesn't get addressed when you're having a good time, it only gets worse when you have a bad time. We will end up becoming a pension machine where that's all we're going to be doing, and you're going to see a diminishing level amount of services over time because of that, unless it's fixed. One of the things that Jeff did, and never heard it before, and I want to thank you for it. I worked real hard in the 90s to get truth in taxation through. You talked about the tax levy. That's never happened before, and I just want to thank you for that because it gives an accurate accounting of what really happens when you're talking about taxation. 13th Street, you've really got to thank Felicita Mendoza and Michael Nowakowski and those two in particular, for those of you, who's here for 13th Street? Can you raise your hand? There's the lady you need to thank, okay? Give her a hand clap. Seriously, she was amazing on that. I never even knew there was an issue until she brought it up to me. Then I saw it at one of the council meetings, or one of the budget hearings. And so she was able to rally the support of the rest of the council to make sure it was in there. So kudos to her for getting something done that was a problem for so long. I also want to thank the mayor. The pedestrian safety issue is a significant issue, and we would not even be here talking about it today if she didn't bring it up. So her leadership was able to bring that up. Whether it's going to be enough going forward, but it's a great start. It's a phenomenal start, but I think that she did an amazing job of getting that on our radar screen where we were working on it, we were doing things, but there was no continuity. So I think thanks to the mayor for that. When it comes to the homeless issue, I'd have to agree if Craig is still here. It's just not working right now. You can also look across the country and find out that it's not working. Look at Seattle, San Francisco, a lot of the S cities, I guess, but those cities, it's just not working there. And we've been working, Sam in my office, I got to give him the credit for this, for the last 5 months, he's been interviewing, talking to individuals around the country to find out what works, what doesn't work, He's probably a good, another 45 days away of coming out with a report from our office talking about the homeless issues. And I think we even interviewed you, didn't we, Craig? We did. So we've interviewed people locally, nationally, just to find out what's working, what's not working. And Sam will be coming out with a report on that. The other issue when it comes to after-school programs, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Back in the 90s, Phil Gordon and I actually took this on, and we had one of the most extensive after-school programs ever in the history of Phoenix. Then when the bad times hit around 2010, you saw that coming away. That might be something to take a look and see what we did before in the past, and maybe change that around and work on that, because I think that that was a very successful program. A lot of families, working families in particular, had no way to pick up their kids. I mean, I'm lucky in my life where I'm able to pick up my kids. That's where I'm going to leave around a little after 4 o'clock to go get them from school. But at the end of the day, a lot of families just don't have that luxury to do that. I mean, they're working. I remember with my mom and dad, it was just hard. I mean, nothing was easy. So there are those kids out there that don't have places to go, and even if it wasn't the most extensive type of programming, it kept them off the streets. It was able to keep them occupied and in places. We ought to really take a look at that again if the council's willing to take a look at what we did in the past and find ways to bring that back if that's something we want to do. And then one last thing here, it just cracks me up how many people still this whole anti-police fervor that's out there. I love our police. If anyone doesn't want the police in their district, I'll take them all. I'll take every police officer. I would love them. I love those guys. They work hard. They go out and do things every single day that a lot of people don't get the opportunity, that don't do that. They risk their lives. They don't know if they're coming back. Their families don't know this. If you saw their families, their children, those are the guys we love. That guy right there, those individuals here, the woman that's over here, they are phenomenal. They are important to us. I just don't want that debate to occur to make it sound like it's only one side that's out there, because there is another side to this. That's the side I'm promoting right now, because a lot of people that believe that the police are great don't talk about it, but they should. Every one of us should thank them and thank them for what they do. If you don't want the park rangers, I'll take those guys too. So at the end of the day, if they want to bring them all to my district, I'll even trade off to any council member that doesn't want the police in their district. I'll trade off programming for more police officers in my district. Be happy to do that. So thank you, police officers, for everything you do. I'm just not going to let that debate occur without defending them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pastor.
I have questions. Right before I got here, I received an email. I received it earlier, but had a chance to read it, and it was regarding the park rangers. And so I was quickly doing some research regarding uniforms. And so what I noticed in park ranger uniforms, it looks like, and this is where the further research is needed, it looks like park rangers uniforms are the brown and the green, the khaki and the green, across the nation. So I don't know if it is part of an association or if that's what it is. I would like some research done in that area regarding the park ranger uniform.
So Mayor and members of the council and Councilwoman Pastor, our uniforms are light brown on the top, so tan, and they're brown pants. And so National Park Service, they're green pants and brown shirts generally.
Okay. So I guess my question or the research which demonstrate if we are able to change the uniforms.
We have a current contract. We can evaluate that and see if we can transition them out. I think we'd want to be very careful with how closely they look to maybe some other organizations that might even be more negative. So we just need to evaluate that.
Yeah, that was just, I was doing some really quick research on it. And you answered the complaint. I think it's very needed dialogue to have a proactive approach in the future regarding looking at mental health agencies or building a collective impact, very similar to Opportunities for Youth, of looking at our library space. I'm thinking of right now Burton Bar because I've looked at library space, and there is space in there. It's just a matter of how we rearrange our space, but look at that type of concept. In addition to that, what I would really be interested in looking at too is at the parks, and maybe having a mobile, or I don't know, mobile, or looking at spaces within the parks that we can utilize for some of that outreach too. I don't know if there's best practices or anything, but we may be the model for the future. Really appreciate the fact that mobile vans are part of the budget, but also that possibly making a mobile van for ADA purposes and activities. That is exciting. The mobile van did come back. It got shuttered during the recession, and so I was really happy that when it came back to serve the needs of the areas of students. I believe after-school programs are still vibrant and big, happening within the parks. I don't think that a piece of it got shuttered, but we restored it. The question for me or to you, Inger, is how robust and vibrant are those after-school programs for the students or for the children? And so I would like to look at that in the future. And obviously, the $300,000, there really needs to be a process for community leaders to be engaged. We promised that. We've pushed for that. I just don't want it to come back to the CTC. I think I did it right. The CTC piece, and when recommendations were there, we couldn't implement. I really would like to make sure that in this process, it's a genuine process, and making sure that there are items that can be implemented. To our police officers in here and out in the streets, I do believe our city needs, there's many different needs and there are many different dynamics that we face, and we do need to protect our city. A combo of that is also making sure that our park rangers are equipped with the training in mental health and even de-escalation in that whole process. And so I would like to see how we can infuse that. I don't know, maybe it could be they go through that piece of training with police, I don't know, or go through that training with some of our nonprofits that have that training, but to please look at that. I feel like we did the best that we could with the resources that we had, and really made sure that the budget was reflective of the community and the needs of the community. So I really appreciate and thank staff that are there with us at every budget meeting. I sometimes think that you guys are the elected officials because you're there with us, and 24/7 we have to turn around and turn it back on. And so really appreciate all your hard work and what you do for the city. So thank you.
Thank you. Certainly agree with Councilwoman Pastor. This has been a great team process. The best city budget is a reflection not of the needs of those of us at this table, but of the entire community. This is a budget that prioritizes people who don't always have a strong advocate. So we're adding abilities to fight troubling eviction trends in this community. There's a position which we have jokingly called the housing czar. But we should not underestimate how powerful that position can be working across our city departments. We have city aid and housing assistance now in multiple different apartments, and this will be someone who can bring together all of our resources, and not just resources in traditional departments, but if the airport has land that the airport doesn't need, but it could be a site for affordable housing, here's someone who can bring people together across city departments. Parks, community centers, and libraries will see increased hours and funding up to the tune of $3 million. So this is a budget that says we care so much about our children. We have folks, including in the Levine area, who've been fighting for adaptive recreation for years, and I hope this budget is a significant move forward. I'd encourage everyone to look at the capital improvement. We didn't get into the details today. We did highlight some great projects in the CIP, including one Councilwoman Pastor has been working very hard on, one in District 8, but there are great projects in District 2, in every part of District 2, in District 3, and we really are investing throughout the city. So this is a budget that says every part of the city of Phoenix matters. We're also stepping up for vulnerable populations, including those affected by pedestrian safety. I hope that people feel good about this process and where it's moving our city. There's certainly much more work to be done, but it's been a good, inclusive process, and we do have things to celebrate. So thank you for those who participated. Councilwoman Pastor. Or, no, I'm sorry, Stark. I just got in a habit.
I'll take that as a compliment. Take it as a compliment. And thank you, Mayor. I echo your sentiments. I did want to talk a little bit about the capital program, and I want to thank staff for increasing the funds to really look at pedestrian safety. I hope in the future we can look at it more comprehensively, maybe revisit some type of program, just study ways to prevent pedestrian fatalities. But I thank you for the additional money that's been put in for the medians, hawks, and street lighting. And thanks for pointing out that housing's a czar, but I also want to say thanks for neighborhood services. Sometimes they're the unsung hero. They go out, they work with our neighborhoods. The neighborhood specialists are terrific, and I'm happy to see that we're going to add an additional neighborhood specialist. I know the couple that work with me do a terrific job, and they really are a benefit to our neighborhoods. They really are that connection to our neighborhoods. Especially what I've seen in Sunny Slope with the neighborhood specialists there. We've increased involvement in Sunny Slope. We've seen a couple additional block watches, so I think I'm very happy to see this in the budget. I do think it was a great process. I was happy to hear all the comments from our residents, and I hope that we can get this passed this year. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no further comments. Then I believe we are adjourned for the day.